something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
Los Angeles!
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show, 888-659-3727. Thanks for the few of you who have hung out and listen to the broadcast and watch the show on Joe Tillman's YouTube page, which obviously is youtube.com/hairtransplant mentor. But we are live, guys, so come back in the room. We're moving. I hope you guys got the alert because we are doing a show. Joe has a studio all set up this week, looking sharp, and we are here to answer your hair loss questions live. Now, we're only going to do about an hour today, depending on a lot of things. But, so get your calls in early. The phone number is 888-659-3727. If you don't know who I am, why, we are both here. I am the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, author of the two most read volumes on the subject of the prevention and treatment of hair loss. That is The Bald Truth, that came out weird, and The Truth About Women's Hair Loss. I am also if I didn't say this already, the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, which has been getting a shit ton of press lately. I would say in the last 7 days, we have been referenced, or I've been contacted, we've been referenced about 7 times internationally. I've been contacted by the media 4 times. So here's the good news, guys. Hair loss is becoming much more, I guess, out there in the public consciousness. The mainstream media is looking at it much more than it ever has before. The bad news is, one of the reasons this is happening is because there is so much more shit being sold to vulnerable consumers. Crazy press releases going out about nonsensical things that would never in a million years help anybody, but that's the nature of this industry. And more guys are having surgical hair restoration today, and women, than ever before at any time in the history of this field. Now, for the field itself, that seems like it would be good, and also for the guys who are searching for a solution to their hair loss. We just lost Joe again. Oh, there he is. That seems to be good. Wow, his head is big. But put the camera on me for a second. But the reality is, the vast majority of products and services being sold in this industry, 99%, and this has been since the beginning of time. Actually, since the beginning of time, everything was bullshit. Now, at least we have 2 FDA-approved products and some other, stuff that has some potential to help. But most of the stuff being promoted, sold, or talked about via the mainstream media is complete nonsense. I was interviewed by I'm not going to say who, but it's an international newspaper. Obviously, it's international because it's very well known online as well. And I don't want to get into the story because I don't want to kind of shoot their load before it's printed. But I think that this was really kind of a positive story. And it was talking about how much more accepted it is for guys to actively try to do something about their hair loss. So I think that is a good thing. But sadly, most of the stuff that I see, when I get Google alerts of, when I'm being, interviewed, or the American Hair Loss Association is being referenced, or the IHRS, it normally has to do with, some facts, because they provide our statistics in the story, but also about a product or a service that seems too good to be true. So please, I know it's 2019, but if there is a real cure for hair loss, I promise you, you will not see this show anymore. I will be gone. Joe will be gone. You know, I'll open up a little bar down in, you know, Key West somewhere, whatever. Joe can come with me if he likes. And I'm just going to call it a fucking day. But as you keep seeing our fucking mugs and hearing my voice and Joe's voice on Stitcher and on all the other online resources that air this broadcast, that means the cure isn't here. We are not really close to any more effective treatments than we have right now, sadly. And we got to work with what we got. I don't mean to depress you, Joe, but
you'll be running the bar. I will be a dive master up in Key Largo.
We'll make it like we'll
that's
combine.
my thing, dude.
We'll combine
Diving.
businesses somehow. Like we'll have like the bar with like, you know, guys. People can go diving before, and then you bring them back to the bar.
For the Cuba Libres.
Yes, after they can't get them drunk before they go under.
No.
But when they come back, and they all check out, you can just drive them to the bar.
Exactly. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
But I tell you what's funny about these news stories that come up. According to the American Hair Loss Association, 2/3 of women, blah blah blah, and it's possible we'll have a cure in 5 years.
Right. Right.
It's like, how does that even what?
Yeah. And then, you know, there's other one. I'm not even going to get into it. I've been asked to comment on it, but it's like, it's all fucking science fiction at this point. I want these things to come true. I want them to come to fruition, but there is no point in reporting on it except for eyeballs and ears. And also there's no point for any company to send out a press release about what they're doing unless they want to create and generate the narrative or some excitement around a narrative of a far distance possibility.
Well, it's all we've talked about this before. It's all to generate excitement. Dare I say speculation about, you know, stock prices and things like this for a product. It's like, hey, you know, we had a successful, we grew a hair in a petri dish.
Yeah.
You know, to get the stock price to go up or to get the IPO to go up higher.
You know, I'd rather see.
It blows my mind.
I'd rather see bullshit about whatever shampoos and treatments that are actually available today than this stuff that comes out that provides hope to the hopeless. And it's false hope. What we're reading about today will probably not help most of you guys in your young lives. That's the sad truth. I sound like I am a total pessimist when it comes to this, but guys, I've been around for 20 years, more than 20 years, doing this. I'm not saying that one day someone's not going to wake up, and it's not going to be like a eureka moment. It's going to be an accidental moment. It's going to be like, holy shit, this actually grew hair?
Yeah, it's going to be a.
I was trying to fix someone's bunions.
It's going to be what do you call what's the antibiotic?
Penicillin.
It's going to be a penicillin moment.
Right.
You mean this fungus actually what?
Yeah.
This grows hair?
That shit is crazy.
Yep.
And then it's going to take another 5 years after that happens until it's approved for that application, or someone can get their claws into it so that they could ensure that they earn money from it.
I actually had when I was working for a particular clinic, we had a researcher come in and speak to us from University of British Columbia, and he wanted our help in getting tissue, scalp tissue,
yeah,
for culturing of hair cells. And the reason why he was asking for this is because they were working on something else completely unrelated to hair. And I think it was some sort of cream, or I'm not sure what the hell it was. Anyway, but one of the assistants to this guy, and this guy was like, I mean, he's known for being really effective in the cellular.
This guy's legit.
Genetics.
The guy's
He's
legit.
Legit as hell. Yeah. And so I volunteered myself. We actually took a couple of FUE, I won't say biopsies, but samples of my own scalp with viable hair growing, donor hair. And for all I know, there's like copies of my hair growing in a petri dish somewhere. But they found this method that they were talking to us about completely by accident.
Right.
Like, I think he said that.
But the fact that you would give away your genetic material to anybody really makes me question our relationship at this point.
Hey, it was for a potential cloning. It's like the opportunity to say, hey, my contribution helped millions of men get their hair back.
Or you can be accused of a crime you have not committed.
We found your follicle at the crime scene, Mr. Tillman. Yeah, of course that went nowhere.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
As they all do.
So Nico's saying, let's talk about the skin gun, which was what a brilliant fucking invention that works. Where is it? What's going on with it? Yeah, essentially they have this. It's almost like a.
Yeah, I know what it is. I wrote about it like 6 years ago or 7 years ago.
What happened to it? They showed it proved that it worked. I mean, think about all the burn victims that could benefit from this. Think about the cosmetic surgery applications of something like this.
Yeah, I remember. I thought they were using it. I think at Walter Reed. I think. Let's see, skin gun.
Have not heard about that in years.
Skin gun.
It was like on National Geographic, and then it hit the news, and then we had it on the Bald Truth, and it's just gone. What happened?
Let's see. I got to find out now. The skin gun. Oh, there's my website article I wrote about it. Let's see what else is there.
Herbie Shapiro, I like that. I got that joke. It was very funny. I hope everyone in the chat room got a laugh.
2016. All this is from 2011. A sci-fi-like skin gun that sprays stem cells onto burned skin is the latest treatment in helping burn victims, scientists say. Yeah.
Billy Capelli Forum. What's going on in Manchester? I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, we're going to be there. That's not until June. Right?
Oh, he's saying see you in Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, June. Yeah.
June.
Anyway.
Jesus, it's already March. Almost.
And then we got the hair banking. You heard about this, right?
The recent hair banking or the old hair banking?
I don't know. Hair banking, hair cloning.
About 10 years ago, 12 years, actually 13 years ago, I think, 14 years ago, there was a company out of the U.S. that was doing basically telling people to provide clippings of their hair, and they were going to store them for future cloning. Now, something a little bit more sophisticated is out there that's been written about today, that while they're actually going to be utilizing derma papilla cells and real tissue and actually multiplying these cells and then saving them, it's a very similar concept.
But it's just as useless.
Yeah, I would say, in my view, I think given the reality of what we know, that is, why hair transplants work, and that donor dominance has been proven, and that even the people behind this will tell any of their patients that the hair they transplanted will last a lifetime, then there's no logical reason to believe that those dermal papilla cells won't be as robust and thrive as well if they are extracted and multiplied when the science comes to fruition, as opposed to doing it now while you're young and spending a lot of money to just save it in some bank somewhere.
And
for the future,
if they're telling patients, well, we're not sure if your donor hair is completely DHT insensitive, as it's not for many people,
right? Then
it's a waste of money. Potentially.
I think that this is all I can say. And of course, we were referencing this article today as well. It doesn't surprise me, but it disappoints me. Because I do believe there will be a lot of people who will be running to get this done, or there'll just be transplant patients who are like, you know what, take out an extra 100 grafts, and hopefully you can save these when the science comes to fruition and you can clone my hair. Or they'll be dead. Or the science will never come to fruition. But here's my 2,500 pounds and my $100 a month or whatever it's going to cost. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. We're not talking about, cryogenically, freezing your head for the future.
I can get behind that.
Most of us, at least according to the current science of hair transplant surgery, will have probably enough dermal papilla cells in our DHT-resistant donor bank to be multiplied when the time is right. There's nothing to my knowledge, unless everyone in hair transplantation is willing to change the science or what they're saying, that points to a degradation of your hair follicle or your dermal papilla cells as you age. Now, it makes sense that it would degrade to some degree, but then that would also make hair transplant surgery a less permanent option than the way it's being promoted. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hypocritical.
Well, it's kind of catch-22. It's like, does it last forever or does it not last forever?
Yeah. And if it doesn't last forever, why are you saying it lasts forever? And why do we now have to save our hair for the future in some bank that we have to pay for like it's a storage unit?
I think that these are the most fundamental, basic questions that anyone with half a brain would ask. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something we don't know about it. I didn't read the article today. I saw a mention of it.
I read it. I read it thoroughly, and I can say it based on the article.
Yeah.
If someone were to ask me, would I make this investment as an insurance policy to save my hair for the future? The answer at this point would be no, unless there's something shown to me, unless there's some data that I can see that has not been made. I've not been made privy to. It's not out there for public consumption. Then I think it just sounds like a very sexy, idea and a good way to, to rake in some cash. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's all on the up and up. It's all legal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just.
But if it comes out in the next 10 years, which I'm sure they're saying it most likely will, could be wrong. Yeah, it's like, why not just go in when it's available and have it done? Just have the hair extracted at that point. Or does it have to be frozen for 10 years before it will work?
And if it is frozen for 10 years, what happens when they do thaw it out? Will the hair be as robust as it was when it was the cells when they were extracted? Or will it make a difference? Or will they be actually less robust than if you waited till you're 50? Just because of the cryogenic or whatever it's called process.
So many questions.
Right.
So many questions. Another development in the hair restoration world, which I thought it's like, this is just like another level of complete and utter BS. What's his name? Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player, soccer player in Europe, like most famous guy in the sport right now. He's starting his own hair transplant and cosmetic surgery clinic in Madrid.
Sure. Why shouldn't he? Everyone else is.
Where they can operate on, I think, how many people at once?
In the chat room, it says 18 patients
18
per
rooms
day.
with the capacity to perform 18 hair transplants every 24 hours at 4,000 euros a pop.
Look, man, you cannot blame this guy. He doesn't know anything about it. He's being sold a bill of goods just like everybody else. And he's like, well, you know what? This is a great business venture. Everyone wants hair. I did it. I want hair.
Yeah.
So fuck it. This is where the industry is going.
It's already there.
No, but this is where it's going to be, unless something changes in the next, I would say 2019, 2020, mid 2020. It's over. All these guys who are up there, accepting awards with, sashes on and, ribbons down to their fucking ankles, they're gone. That is over.
Accepting awards from from organizations that they founded.
That is
God,
actually
yeah.
I should get an award from the American Hair Loss Association. That's a good
I
idea.
need to get an award from Hair Transplant Mentor. That's legit.
Yeah, that is. Well, listen, you can make it legit. This is, I mean,
Of course.
with Instagram and Twitter and everything. Man, I wrote a post the other day. I posted an image. I mean, people really need to understand the difference between influencers and experts in this field, and they don't. There are some very good influencers putting out a lot of content that are getting a lot of eyeballs, and I think that some of these influencers actually mean well. They're just regurgitating what they think is correct, and while they're making this happen and giving their opinion and guiding millennials or even people my age down a path that they may not be able to crawl back out from under. That was a tough one for me to say. They're like, just make sure that you click on that link down below so that I can earn a little cash. And again, nothing wrong with that. But I think, as I say, even with my own message form, take the information for what it is. Understand where it's coming from. When you go to Bald Truth Talk, the vast majority of information on that forum is provided by anonymous users. It is a place for people to share ideas and to, communicate with each other about a topic that society doesn't normally allow us to talk about. But they need to be responsible enough, and I try to let them know that we don't know of any of this. We don't know where this shit is coming from, for the most part, unless it comes from someone who is knowledgeable, someone who has been in the field for a long time and who has a good reputation. Then I probably would just take everything you read with a grain of salt. Same goes for, I would say, the social media influencers in this field who are not directly in the trenches. If you've never worked with or for a hair transplant clinic, you're not an expert. If you've never done what Joe and I have done for the last 20 some odd years, you probably are not qualified to provide advice on cutting your fucking head open. That's all I'm saying.
If you're giving advice because you had a hair transplant, it doesn't make you an expert.
That's correct. Hey, Spencer, who are the good hair loss influencers? I definitely know the bad ones, but not enough good ones. That's tough for me to say. There are some guys out there who I believe have given some decent information, but a lot of it seems to be tainted with product sales or misinformation or misguided information. I think that some of the guys that have made some, gotten some visibility and subscribers and who are out there, I think some of them are well-meaning people. I just can't say who they are.
I don't know which one are
and I don't really know enough of them. I just kind of see their faces. I don't really follow any of them. I'm just sent videos, and I'm just like, what is this? Oh,
I look at it like this. Look at it like this. It's like I think all of them out there that have a decent amount of views and subscribers have put out some valuable information.
Absolutely.
But like you said, some of it's tainted by really bad information. Like
yeah.
Like home PRP.
There's worse than that, but listen, I'm not here to hate on these guys. I think that this is America, man. And also it's international. I mean, this is a capitalist society. I think it's the responsibility of the user and the person who's going to consider buying a product or service or having surgery to really do their due diligence and understand that everyone now has the capacity to get a message out to the world.
Everyone now has the capacity to make videos and be an influencer.
Absolutely. And there are some people who are doing it really well. There's some people who are doing it really well in the fact that they are able to get enough eyeballs to kind of really influence people. And sadly, some people I know who have influenced people have sent them in the wrong direction, and now they're being harmed. Now, anyone can say, yeah, well, listen, same goes with you guys. We talk to you guys. We go to IHS members, or we decide to try finasteride because you guys have both done well on finasteride, and I had side effects. Shit happens, man. That's the way that it is.
But we tell you that shit happens.
We tell you that shit happens, and also we're like, look, man, if you could avoid it, avoid it. Don't fucking do it. Anything. If you don't have to. That's my first choice.
Joe Tillman, are a lot of people in your family balding? Not the ladies, but my dad was. My grandfather, kind of not. Both grandfathers have their hair to varying degrees. My uncle was bald as fuck.
Bald as fuck.
I mean, like Norwood 19.
Yeah. Dude fucking broke the scale.
He did. My younger brother is a Norwood 3, and he's been a Norwood 3 for 20 years. It's a mix, maybe 50-50 through with the guys. But the ones that are bald are really bald, just like me. So hope that helps.
Oh, guys, we're going to take some phone calls if you call in. Otherwise, I had a long day, and I got some shit to do. So we'll turn this into a quick segment, get it up online, and that's it. If you want to call in, phones are open, 888-659-3727. And for those of you in the UK, other parts of Europe, feel free to call in on this number. Oh, why did I do that?
Why'd you do that? What'd you do?
0203-3724683. That's 0203-3724683. And we will take a phone call. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. This is James from Texas.
Hey, James. What's happening?
Hey, James.
Hey, not much. I hope you can hear me pretty well. I'm actually driving.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Jeez, at this point, man, I don't care. I mean, you could be speaking in Morse code. We just need the call.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I came through then. Okay. So my question is has to do with finasteride. I read the other day that about the half-life. I guess it's somewhere between, I guess, up to 8 hours or maybe 4 to 7 hours, something like that. So what if you have the 1 milligram and take the first half, the first 8 hours, and then later take the other half afterwards? Do you think it would improve the efficacy at all?
And again, we're not physicians, but people have been trying to hack this since this game began, and there's no evidence showing that it's going to help. As a matter of fact, I do intermittent therapy where, logically, if you were to ask a doctor, they're like, well, that's been out of his body for at least, 4 days or 5 days. But the reality is once you get your THT levels low enough for a long enough period of time, it takes between 2 weeks and even up to a month to creep up to the original, to the baseline of where you started. So, yeah, I'm not a big believer in that. I don't think it's going to harm you, but it's so much easier. And again, I'm not a physician, just to take the pill once a day as prescribed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious because I've seen charts and graphs of comparing those that do the microdosing or whatever, the quarter, the half, but I take the full 1 milligram. But I was just curious as to because I only take it once, but then I wonder what happens after those 8 hours. Does my DHT? I don't know the science behind it again, so I don't know what happens after the half-life.
During clinical trials, they tested DHT levels, of course, and they all remained at a certain level after taking the 1 milligram dose. DHT levels were lowered significantly. Would they be lowered even more if you started taking it 2 doses a day? Possibly at the beginning. It doesn't really make that much sense, but I think eventually it all just even out.
Okay.
But again, I'm not a physician. And where do you see these charts and graphs, and who made them up?
If you just Google, I guess half or just half dose finasteride DHT. I guess because these are the graphs they're supporting the theory that all you need is the 0.5 milligram. But it came up in a Google search.
Okay.
All right.
I will take a look. But I don't think, how are you doing on finasteride now?
Well, I'm a little over 3 months, and I feel like I've seen some improvement. At least I feel like it's starting to improve slowly. I called last week. I'm a diffuse thinner.
Right.
So I don't know if, like I said, I have the same amount of hair, but it's just it's thinner. But it feels like it might be thickening up.
Yeah,
I believe that.
If you already see a difference, then I wouldn't screw with anything. And again, I'm not a physician, but it seems like you're already responding well to the drug, and you may be one of those really great responders, early responders, and you already, like you said, you have the integrity of your hairline, which is great. A lot of guys with diffuse hair loss seem to do really well on this drug. So, just
are you
keep doing what you're doing.
Did you? I know last week we were talking about adding laser to your routine, but I didn't recall that you were on finasteride for 3 months. So, did you talk to anyone about this? Did you contact the consultant I told you to contact? Did you talk to him about it?
I think we talked about PRP in Dallas with some guy. Forgot his name was David or something, or I forgot what you said his name was.
Blake.
I haven't. Yeah, Blake. There you go. Yeah, actually, I didn't. I haven't contacted him.
Okay, that's fine. And I think that, I encourage you to contact him anyway and to continue doing your research as well, obviously. But being only 3 months on the medication and you're already seeing potential thickening, do not add anything to your routine right now. I'm a huge believer in giving finasteride or anything that you're using the time it needs to do what it's going to do on its own without the influence, positive or negative, of other treatments. Because let's say, for instance, finasteride is working great. You start using, like say you have a PRP session or something, and then that kicks in a shed, and then you start freaking out like, oh, well, finasteride is causing this problem, and you don't think about the PRP, and then you stop the finasteride, and then you lose everything that you've held on to or gained, then you're really up shit creek. So stick. I mean, seriously, it's like people do this all the time. They'll start like, and part of it's it's not their fault. Like a lot of times clinics will tell them to do this. Oh well, you need to start finasteride. You need to start your minoxidil. You need to start your PRP. You need to start your laser cap. All of it at once. So $8,000, and they're out the door the same day with like this, an armful or a grocery bag full of junk, and 6 months down the road, if they get any sort of result, they have no idea what it was that actually worked and what didn't work, or vice versa, anywhere in between. So one thing at a time. And with finasteride, I think that a bare minimum 6 months, preferably give it a year before you decide to add anything else to your regimen.
Yeah, that's interesting you actually say that, because all I'm using right now is finasteride and minoxidil. And prior to taking finasteride, I had a lot of hair transplant questions, but I've kind of backed off of that because I'm more fascinated with finasteride, mainly because that's what I'm using as of right now. So I'm kind of really just sticking to like finasteride only. But I guess some of us worry that it may not help, because I've heard that it's pretty effective for the majority of people, but you never know if you're the what do you say, the ones that does not respond to
non-responder.
You don't want to be that person.
But look, it's like anything else. If you were sick and you were given medication, an antibiotic or something to cure your bacterial infection, there's a chance that particular antibiotic is not going to work for you. But do you go in it thinking, oh my God, this may not work? Probably not. Most people don't really think like that. The reality is, I understand, the potential fear, but you have to kind of pat yourself on the back for moving forward to try to take control of your situation. You've done everything that you can at this point to the best thing, in my view, that you can to slow the progression of your hair loss or stop your hair loss. I had a call from a guy who is, I'm kind of friendly with, and he is he's a well-known trainer. Let's put it that way. And he trains a lot of actors. And he was working out with this actor the other day, and this trainer was bitching about his hair to this actor, and the actor's like, "Dude, look at my hair. I've had a few hair transplants." And the guy was just like, this guy knows what I do, okay? And this guy contacts me, texts me. He's like, "Do you know of any good hair transplant surgeons in the Los Angeles area?" And I'm just like, this is the first time this guy spoke to me about this. So anyway, I had a phone call with him. He had just gotten on finasteride like 2 weeks ago with absolutely no adverse side effects. And he says he feels no different. But he saw this actor who had hair transplants. And he was like, "It looks pretty good. I know he probably has to put makeup in it or whatever at some point, but it looks good. He'd like to get it himself." I'm like, "Dude, man." And he's a diffuse thinner like you. I'm like, you could stop your hair loss and regrow so much hair in a year with this drug. Why would you even consider surgery at this point? And once I explained the process, he was like, he really understood that surgery could really go wrong. It really is a last resort. And it's great to have the information in case things don't work out. But if you have an 86% chance that's anything being positive, those are good fucking odds, man.
Yeah.
Those are hard odds to beat.
Then, especially with diffuse thinners, I was in the same situation. I didn't want to take finasteride, and I was just like, okay, I'll just rely on the transplant. But then I looked into it, and I think you're less of a candidate because you're a diffuse thinner, because you have those follicles in your you have to transplant hair where there may be hair and you might be killing off whatever.
If this guy would have listened to this actor who's very well-intentioned and decided to have a hair transplant and didn't know me, I believe his life, as he knows it now, would be not only extremely different, it might be destroyed.
Yeah.
Because he's diffused throughout the entire top. I don't know what his donor area really looks like. I haven't examined it closely, but I can guarantee there's some miniaturization there.
Okay.
So, not to mention, you already told us that you're already seeing the benefits of finasteride at 3 months, so you know it's working, or you have a strong indicator that it's working. So just stay the course, man.
And I'm just, thank you. I'll be patient. Just one last question, and I'll let you go. Hopefully it's not too complicated, but it's any reason or explanation for why one would diffuse versus the typical pattern, I guess.
Genetics.
Well, for anyone else listening to this, it is a pattern, I'm sure. Or if not, then it would be diffused unpatterned alopecia.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a recession balding, or just a general balding of everything all at once, and that's what you're going through. That's the nature of diffused hair loss. It's generalized throughout the area, and all of it, you know, the every other one or however whatever the ratio is, are miniaturizing at the same time.
A lot of people, for some reason, believe that there's a really marked difference between what they're seeing and common male pattern hair loss. People somehow think that, you have a receding hairline and a bald spot growing, and all the hair in between is full and thick and lustrous, as if, you're not miniaturizing. That's not the case. Some people will miniaturize at a faster rate, more hairs per square centimeter at one time, so they'll have a more distinct recessed hairline. Some guys will have that type of pattern in the crown. And then some guys, and this is most of the guys who reference their hair loss or refer to having a diffuse type of hair loss, a lot of these guys will keep some of the integrity of their hairline, but, it's still thinning, So it's just the nature of the game. It really is just common male pattern baldness. Some people just have more of a diffuse pattern than others. Dupa is a completely different animal, and you will normally see a pretty even distribution of thinning throughout the entire scalp, including the donor area.
Yeah.
All right, Matt?
I mean, if any type of hair loss, I guess I just happen to be the diffuse thinner, and so I guess I'd rather, and to an extent, I'd rather have it this way than the most extreme one that there is out there. So I'm grateful for that.
You should be grateful.
Thank you guys very much, and hope you have a good night.
All right, man. Listen, take care. Good luck, and keep us informed.
Thanks for updating us.
Thank you.
Care.
Well, of course. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat about whether or not we would be keeping Dr. Prasanga's and Dr. Cole's name on the door if they are not performing their own surgeries in their clinic that they are opening up in Greece. Here's how the IHS works. These guys cannot promote their clinic or physicians in their clinic as IHS members. That's the way it works. It doesn't take away their skill set and their ability to perform really great surgery. My hope is that whoever they train, and I'm sure this is going to be the case, knowing John Cole and Dr. Prasanga, are going to be really great at what they do, and I'd be able to bring them on to the IHS. That's what I hope for. But no, I mean, if they're not performing surgery in Greece and they are delegating their surgery to people they've trained well, as long as the work is good, why would I take them off the IHS? They're two of the best doctors in the world. That would be crazy.
Yes.
Yes, Ronald Reagan.
I'm just going through the through comments here, looking for
that's fucking awesome.
In the questions.
Yes, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, that would be smart. Let's remove two of the best guys who perform FUE today because they're trying to create an environment where guys can have more affordable hair transplants performed by well-trained people.
That's the thing. I don't think maybe FSK or maybe other people don't realize this, is that the reason why they're starting this is because they're trying to give people an option on the, I might be misunderstanding, but from what I understand, they want to give people a low-cost option that still has a lot of quality to it because it is doctors that are trained to do it, and they're trained to do it the right way by two of the best in the business, as opposed to going to some other place where for roughly the same price, you're getting technicians where you have no idea who they are. You have no idea what their background is.
How they've been
trained. You have
trained.
no idea
if they've been trained.
What their training is, if they've been trained. Yeah, I mean, my hat's off to them. I think it was a great idea, and I hope it works well for them.
Look, let me put my business hat on. It's fucking brilliant, because everyone is bitching about, oh my God, this cosmetic surgery tourism and the Turkish market is taking all the European business away, and everyone's they're freaking out, and they're starting black market campaigns and all this bullshit. And these two fucking smart guys get together and like, wait a second, we have names. We're IHS members. We're well known in this field. We know how to train our staff. We essentially were the pioneers of FUE. We should take this fucking market by storm. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Hats off to both of these guys. And
yeah,
you know what?
For them.
It's only going to help people. It's only going to those who are lucky enough to be able to get into this clinic when the time is right and spend the extra buck, the extra euro for a graft to get something done correctly and to actually have
Wait. An extra euro?
Yes, it might be. And actually work with people who could help them, where they're going to have communication after the fact. They're going to have good patient aftercare. You're going to know it's a sterile environment.
Yes.
I mean, Jesus. Yeah. It's fucking brilliant. Believe me, if I was a hair transplant surgeon anywhere in the world, I would have done this a year ago. No offense, guys.
No offense.
But I'm like, this is fucking brilliant.
Let's see. All right, guys. Is everyone hold? Any people calling?
No, I think we're going to call it a night. We did our hour.
No calls. Okay, we did our hour. You guys had the opportunity. We were here waiting for Nico. Nico, I thought you were going to call, brother.
That's all right. Hey, look, just
that's okay.
File it away, Frico. File it away.
Frico.
No, we have to go.
Look, I didn't want to sit in my nice new office and studio anyway. I wanted to get out of here.
I got to tell you, I want to show a full screenshot of that. I mean, you are like on the USS Enterprise, my man.
Well, I'm watching you on my view screen.
Yeah. I mean, no, it really looks good. It's going to be great for what you plan to do and for what we're doing now. I mean, and I could hear the sound quality is really good.
Thank you.
At least coming through my ears.
Well, helps turning up the volume.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to call it a night. Thanks so much for hanging out. We will do probably a full 2 hours on Friday, but I had planned to do a shorter show tonight anyway. Let's give out the websites. Joe, give out the forums that everyone
Well, I got to start off with our Italian buddy who's in the chat room right now. He runs bellycapelli.forumfree.it. It is the Italian hair loss and hair transplant surgery forum and website. Lots of great doctors sharing their results, patients sharing their experiences. And although it's in Italian, any modern browser will translate it into the language of your choice. That's bellycapelli.forumfree.it. Next up, we've got international-hairlossforum.com. It is the French version of Belly Capelli, but in French, not Italian. And yes, I am accentuating Italian just because it's like the southern way to do it, but Italian. International-hairlossforum.com. Also doctors, also patients sharing their experiences, sharing their results, and it does translate into English on any modern browser. Both forums are friends of the broadcast, and they allow us to broadcast and stream this show through their web properties. So big thanks to them. And finally, we've got hairlossexperiences.com, UK-based forum. So if you speak English, there's no translation necessary. Also, doctors and patients sharing their experience. And all three resources are safe resources. There's no funny business going on behind the scenes. The people that run these forums are good people. They support us. They believe in truth in advertising. They believe in getting the right message out so that you can make the best decision for yourselves. So check them all out.
And there must be like a small German forum who would be interested in hosting this broadcast somewhere.
Not at the expense of themselves.
No, but there's got to be something. It can't be just one German forum.
I don't know.
I say
let's start one.
Maybe we'll start one. No, maybe we'll ask our Italian friends if there's another forum out there. Because actually, Germans want this show.
I think that there is another one, come to think of it.
There you go. All right, guys, listen, thebaldtruth.com for archives of this broadcast. Also, AmericanHairLoss.org if you are interested in anything hair loss. It is the most referenced hair loss organization by the mainstream media in the world. And we're going to be updating the site, finally. We've been working on it for about 3 months, so things should be changing very shortly, so we're excited about that. Also, the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons is the organization that I founded about 18 years ago, where at the time it was extremely controversial, and apparently it still is. I did my best to separate the good doctors from the not-so-good doctors in this incredibly treacherous field. And what it has evolved into is a place where physicians, once they are accepted, they also are accepted on not only their surgical skills and other merits, but the fact that they are willing to support our message, support what we do for you guys, support the idea that surgery is a last resort, that you need to be an educated consumer before you even consider having hair transplant surgery. And if you are not prepared for the entire scope and possible pitfalls of hair transplant surgery, they agree that you are not a candidate for hair transplant surgery. So I said this to somebody today who I've been having email correspondence with, who's been supporting, and we've supported for the last almost 20 years, and he's supported the IHRS for the same amount of time, that he has helped more hair loss sufferers than he can ever imagine by helping us get the truth out there in the way that we've been doing it for such a long time. So that's IAHRS.org. Again, just because someone is in an organization or on a list, as some people call it, does not mean that you're going to have a great hair transplant. It's the way of the world. This is cosmetic surgery. So you're essentially researching through the best that are out there, but still understand this is real surgery. Let's see, baldtruthtalk.com is our message forum, heavily moderated. If you can't deal with that, you can go to one of the other forums that were just mentioned. Those are kind of moderated too. They're good forums.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, we have a zero bullshit policy. If you're trying to sell something, you're out. If you're guerrilla marketing, you're out. If you're trying to destroy someone's reputation anonymously, you're out. If someone comes on and says, how's my hair transplant, and they're happy about it, and you say, what the fuck happened to you? You're out.
You're out.
That's it. It's not allowed. We're trying to create an environment where people could actually be helped and maybe feel good and get some support, not be beaten up and maligned for something that they may be happy about. I think that's reasonable. Others don't. Anyway, that's baldtruthtalk.com. And I guess that's it. Oh, Joe Tillman's website, hairtransplantmentor.com, for everything Joe Tillman. And if you want to see his fall and then his rise from the ashes, like the phoenix that he is, check out his entire story. He's got incredible information on there. The most robust hair transplant, hair loss glossary in the world is on that site. And you could also learn more about some of the IAHRS members that he is currently working with. So that's hairtransplantmentor.com. Also, please subscribe to everything that we just talked about. Subscribe to Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth on iTunes. Subscribe to Joe Tillman's YouTube page or channel, which is youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Ring that bell so you get alerted to when we are live on his page. And if you're in the room right now, take the time to like the show. It definitely helps. Until next time, be strong. God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
Bud Light presents Real American Heroes.